وحرية التدين لم يحظى ببحث كثير. So this aspect has unfortunately not been studied as it should be appropriately studied. It's interesting that there's a Western scholar who's written a book recently on this subject. The Prophet ﷺ, النبي وخلفائه لم يهدموا دارا لعبادة. No building of worship was destroyed. And the Prophet actually نهى عن هدم البناء. He prohibited to destroy buildings in war. It's one of the prohibitions in war. The fourth problem here is إغفال السياق وأثره على مفهوم الجهاد, is not understanding the contextualization of jihad. So if you look, for instance, in the earlier period, the concept of jihad, it arose in a situation where there were no treaties. The Arabs used to say, الروم إذا لا تغزى تغزو. If you don't fight Rome, Rome will fight you. This was the environment of the pre-modern world. If you look at the pre-modern, all of the pre-modern borders, you will see that they're borders that were fought for. People fought. And so the Byzantines were attacking the Muslims were attacking the Byzantines. This was the world. Even at the early period, the Arabs were a group of tribes. Many of these tribes lived off attacking other tribes. And they actually had conditions in which they fought. And for instance, they wouldn't take the harim generally, the women, because it would cause a whole cycle of violence. But they could steal goats, and then they would steal their goats or camels. And then the other tribe, when they got their opportunity, they would go steal their goats and camels. This was the environment that the Arabian Peninsula Arabs were living in. There was a lot of starvation and other problems. This has to be understood when you read the verses of jihad. Shaykh Abdullah bin Bayya said that in the early period of Islam, there was a khilaf about jihad al-talab and jihad al-difa', about whether there was preemptive jihad or only defensive jihad. Ibn Taymiyyah was of the opinion that jihad was only defensive, and he argued that anybody that studies the seerah deeply will see that the Prophet ﷺ only fought defensively. Now what's interesting about this, he says today this debate should be over. That jihad should be understood to be the right which the United Nations gives every nation to defend themselves against an invading or occupying force. And the idea of going out in an age of nuclear weapons, in an age of aerial bombardment, and attacking other people is insanity. وَنَحْكُمُ عَلَيْهِ بِالْجُنُونِ. These people literally should be declared insane because they're bringing so much harm on people by doing this. So the other is, so if you look, ayatul jihad wa ahadithu ayatul sayf, yartabitu kullun minha bi siyaqin khasin jiddan. Each one, now Imam Zarkashi, one of the great usuli scholars, said, kullu amran warada yajibu imtitharuhu fi waqtin ma. Everything that comes down will find its appropriate time and place. لِعِلَّةٍ تَجِبُ ذَلِكَ الْحُكْمِ, because of some legal rationale for the ruling or the category. ثُمَّ يَنْتَقِلْ بِانْتِقَالِ تِلْكَ الْعِلَّةِ إِلَى حُكْمٍ آخَرٍ. And then when the rationale changes, the category or the ruling will change. This is the depth of our tradition, and this is why Islamic law is much closer to constitutional law than it is to statute law. And unfortunately, many Muslims see it as statute laws. They don't understand that these laws have asbab, shurut, mawani'. That every ruling in Islam has reasons, it has conditions, and it has prohibitions.